Welcome back. This is Mr. Weinkoff with Embrace Tutoring and Educational Services. Within this video, we will be discussing the SAT Practice Test 8, Math Section 4, questions 11 through 20. And in this video, we will cover the detailed explanations, but in other videos, we will go through in terms of the quicker and the fast explanations. Okay, question 11 is asking, Jenny is a pitcher that contains 1 gallon of water. How many times could Jenny completely fill the glass with 1 gallon of water? And this glass is referring to the previous problem or the previous diagram where you see here, if we scroll up, where it says, which is approximately 16 fluid ounces. So this container here is a volume of 473 cubic centimeters, but it is also approximately 16 fluid ounces. So if I scroll back down, and the question is asking me, 1 gallon equals 128 fluid ounces, how many glasses can I fill within that container? When we're approaching this problem, we want to do and set up a basic unit conversion to relate our 28 fluid ounces to glasses, or how many glasses will fit inside of them. And Jenny wants to pour in 1 gallon, and that 1 gallon is going to be equivalent to 128 fluid ounces. So I'm trying to figure out, well, how do I go now from ounces to glasses? And I know that I have 16 fluid ounces per 1 glass that fill up this container. So, and I'm trying to attempt to figure out, well, how many glasses will I get when I were to cross out my fluid ounces here? So 128 divided by 16 is going to give me a total of 8 altogether. So my 128 divided by 16 should give me 8 glasses that can fill into this 1 gallon if Jenny were to pour it in. This does mean that 8 is going to be my answer, and scrolling back, 11 is going to be B. So 128 divided by 16 should give me 8 glasses within that container. Roberto is an insurance agent who sells 2 types of policies, a $50,000 policy and a $100,000 policy. Last month, his goal was to sell at least 57 insurance policies. While he did not meet his goal, so less than, because he did not meet his goal, the total value of the policies he sold was over $3 million. So that means that that came up greater than. So the less than should be correlated to the 57, and the greater than should be correlated to the 3 million. Which of the following systems of inequalities describes X? The possible number of $50,000 policies, and Y, the possible number of $100,000 policies that Roberto sold last month. So I know that the X plus Y should be less than 57 because he did not meet his goal. So it's not going to be B and it's not going to be D. And with respect to the 3 million, both of the policies together should be, and the 100,000 should be connected to Y, and the 50,000 should be connected to X. So 100,000 Y, 100,000 Y, and these both should be greater than 3 million. So C is going to be my best possible answer for question 12 because it's X plus Y is less than 57 and 50,000 X plus 100,000 Y is greater than 3 million. Question 13 asks, if A to the negative 1/2 equals X, where A is greater than 0, what is A in terms of X? Now this problem is asking me to use my exponent rule so that way I can solve for A, and X is going to be on the right side of the equation here where the question mark appears, and I'm attempting to solve what is A in terms of X. And the first thing I need to be able to do is eliminate this exponent in some way, and the way that I would do that is by multiplying the entire exponent here by -2, because I know that if the -2 is going to be kind of distributed in, or an exponent to an exponent, where here I have -1/2, and then if it's to another exponent, this becomes 2. So the 2 and the -1/2 will cross out, and then we'll end up getting -1. So this will become A to the negative, or A to the first power actually, because this is negative times a negative, so A to the positive first power. And now remember, whatever I do to the one side of the equation, I also have to do to the other side of the equation. So this becomes X to the -2 power overall. So A to the first power equals X to the -2. I've solved for A being A to the first, or A, but my answer may appear as this for x to the negative second, or my answer may also appear as such, right? Or 1 over x squared, because if I were to inverse this negative here or flip this side for the exponent rule, so my answer would appear as either one of these. Let's go back, and indeed C is going to be the answer. They flipped it where a to the first power equals x to the negative 2, or it would appear as 1 over x squared, and these are congruent. These are going to be equal to each other. 14 is asking, which of the following is a value of x for which the expression negative 3 over x squared plus 3x minus 10 is undefined? Well, what you need to be aware of is that undefined means that the denominator is equal to 0. So if the denominator is equal to 0, then I can set this so that it's x squared plus 3x minus 10 equals 0. And most likely you're going to want to factor this going through. And here I would have an x, here I'd have an x. The middle term is positive, the end term is negative, so one of these will at least be negative. And the greater term is going to be positive, so here I'm going to have a positive, and here I'm going to have a negative. And this will be 5 and 2, right? I put positive 5 because I end up getting plus 3, and I put negative 2 because I end up getting negative. If I were to FOIL this backwards, I would end up getting x squared minus 2x plus 5x, and then minus 10. I would simplify the like terms, which is where I'm getting the positive 3x from. So these are my values, and it's saying that for which of the following is the value of x for the expression? Well, if I have my x plus 5, and if I were to set that equal to 0, and then if I have my x minus 2 and also set that equal to 0, this is going to be x equals positive 2, and this will become x equals negative 5. So it's saying that for which of the following is a possible. So is negative 5, 2, D is going to be my best answer because 2 is being expressed and negative 5 is not an option. So 14 will be D. 15 states a granite block in the shape of a right rectangular prism has dimensions 30 centimeters by 40 by 50. The block has a density of 2.8 grams per cubic centimeter, and I remember from my science classes that density equals mass per volume, but they do give it to me here. It says, what is the mass of the block? Now, so if density is 2.8, they want me to, and this is 2.8 grams per cubic centimeter, they want me to figure out what is the mass of the block. The volume I can figure out by 30 times 40 times 50. So my volume is going to be 30 times 40 times 50. And this value will be 60,000. And this will be 60,000 cubic centimeters. And the answer should be in grams, which is good because we want our cubic centimeters to end up crossing out. And now I have my cubic centimeters multiplied by grams per cubic centimeters, so they will cross out. And then I have 2.8 times 60,000, which should give me my mass if I cross multiply. So 2.8 times 60,000 is going to be equivalent to my mass. And it should be a fairly high number, notice, because this is almost 3 times 60,000. So D will be my best answer for 168,000. So my mass will equal 168,000 grams. Question 16 states, number of adults contracting colds. Here I have a table illustrating vitamin C, sugar pill, total, cold, no cold, and total. Table shows the results of a research study that investigated therapeutic value of vitamin C in preventing colds. A random sample of 300 adults received either a vitamin C pill or sugar pill each day during a 2-week period, and the adults reported whether they contracted a cold during the time. This is really what I care about. What proportion of adults who received a sugar pill reported contracting a cold? Well, I'm going to go to the adults and reported contracting a cold, which would be here for my 150 total, and it says, so I'm not going to include my no cold section. It says what proportion of adults who received a sugar pill. So here I have 33, and my total is going to be 150. So this should be 33 out of 150. I can see that both of these are divisible by 3. So if I were to divide both by 3, then this becomes 11. If I were to divide 150 by 3, then this becomes 50. So if I were to simplify this, this becomes 11 over 50. And my answer choice for 16 should be B, 11 over 50. For question 17, I see ages of 20 students enrolled in a college class. I see frequency here, and I see their corresponding ages on the side. The table above shows the distribution of ages of the 20 students enrolled in a college class. Which of the following gives the correct order of the mean, median, and mode of the ages? So let's just do a quick review. The mean is your average. The median is going to be your middle number throughout the sequence. So when everything is sequenced from least to greatest, this is going to be the middle value that you have. And then your mode is the number that appears most frequently, or let's say highest frequency, just to kind of correlate it back to the table. And the one with the highest frequency is 18. So I immediately know my mode is going to be the lowest age group, right? So the age group that appears the most often is going to be my mode, or the data set that appears the most often is going to be my mode. And if mode is 18, then I see here, according to the students, that there's no other age group that's lower than 18, so I know it can't be C and D, because this says which of the following gives the correct order of mean, median, and mode is my lowest. It must be between A and B then. Now, comparing my median and my mean, well, my median, once again, is if to take the 20 students that I have for my total amount of students that are surveyed, I'm trying to find the middle number. And if I have 20 students, it's really going to be between my 10th and my 11th number. All right, so my median is going to be somewhere around the kind of the 10.5 person that is being surveyed. So the 10.5 person, or between the 10th and the 11th person, is really what my median will be when comparing for the people that are surveyed. And what they correspond to, so what number they were taken, is going to correspond to the age group. So they will, right, what number were they surveyed, and then what age do they correlate to in terms of that survey. And if I can see that this is going to be around the 11th person, then my median is most likely going to be 19. Because between my 10th and 11th here is going to be, right, the 6 plus the 5 is going to be 11. So between my 10th and 11th person, I am going to fall within age 19. Right? If I do 6 and then plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, I'm now at the 10th, plus another one, I'm now kind of between my 10th and 11th person surveyed. So age 19 is going to be my median, which means that, well, the median is slightly greater than the mode, so A is most likely going to be my answer, but let me show you how we calculate our mean. The mean is calculated as the average, so I'm going to want to do the mean, and here I have my total over my total participants, or my total sum over my total kind of number of people that have been surveyed. So total surveyed. In this case, the total surveyed is 20. They tell you that. Right? They save you a little bit of time, but you can add up the frequencies here, and that would end up giving you 20. When setting up this expression, I know that my mean will be all over 20, but I'm going to have my 18 times 6 because I had 6 people surveyed, all with the age of 18, and then I'm going to say plus my 19 times 5, and then plus my 20 times 4, and then plus my 21 times 2, then plus my 22 times 1, plus my 23 times 1, and then finally plus my 30 times 1. And all of this, in terms of my sum, will be over 20. This answer should give you, I would say, right around 20 when you plug this in your calculator. Now, if I were to order them correctly, I would have my mode, which was 18, is going to be less than my median, which was what we determined to be the middle number, which was approximately 19 for the age group. And then this is going to be less than my mean, and my mean is going to be 20 as we calculated according to the entire data set. So A still continues to be the best answer. The reason why I rationalized it was A before is because if it's 18, 19, well, the numbers only get greater right? If I determine that the median is 19, then I know that the mean has to be a greater number than 19 because the numbers only consistently get greater. So I chose A before, but we were still able to solve and figure it out mathematically. Okay, question 18. The figure below shows the relationship between the percent of leaf litter mass remaining after decomposing for 3 years and the mean annual temperature in the degrees Celsius in 18 forests in Canada. A line of best fit is also shown, so here I am. A particular forest in Canada, whose data is not included in the figure, had a mean annual temperature of -2. Based on the line of best fit, which the following is closest to the predicted percent of leaf litter mass remaining in this particular forest after decomposing for 3 years. So my -2 would be between my 0 and -5. So my -2 is going to fall somewhere kind of right here. This is -2.5, right? 0 to -5, so -2.5. So my -2 is going to be somewhere in this range. I also see that they're keeping the decomposition for 3 years, which is matching what they told me before, meaning I'm not going to have to do any sort of ratio to see what it would have been if it was under a different time. And here's my temperature of -2, and I'm gonna slide up, going to my line of best fit, and I'm gonna see that I'm going to be somewhere within this kind of this range here. So I'm going to be, one of my answer choices is going to fall within this range. I appear to be above 65, and I also appear to be kind of lower than 75 if I were to draw this more accurately. So my answer should be between, let's say, above 65, and it should be less than or lower than my 75. So I'm going to go down, I'm going to look at my answers. Well, C is the best answer choice if I'm using the line of best fit in order to correlate. So C is going to be the answer number 18. Okay, question 19. The range of the polynomial function f is a set of real numbers less than or equal to 4. If the zeros of f are -3 and 1, meaning that when y equals 0, what is x? Right? If the zeros of f, meaning f of x, which is y, which equals 0, right? Which of the following could be the graph of y equals f of x in the plane? What they're attempting to do is tell you that when f of x equals 0 or y, then what is x? So I want to determine my x values using my graph here, and I know that my value should be -3 and 1. So I'm going to look on the graph and I should find -3 and 1. It looks like A is a possible answer choice. If I were to slide down for a moment, then potentially C. So I'm between A and C right now. But let's consider the differences between A and C and what we actually are thinking. What we want is to have the x equals -3 and the x equal +1 when the y equals 0. So we want x to equal these values when the f of x or the y equals 0. But it also tells you that the max is going to be 4, and you're able to develop that from the set of the problem where it says real numbers less than or equal to 4. So if my max is going to be 4, and A is going to be my best possible answer choice simply because of the fact that here I have a max of 4, whereas in C, right, we're already eliminating B because they don't fit the values, the reverse. But for C, the max continues to go up, right? So it's not going to be C because it doesn't fit the lowest point here would actually then be what it looks like to be -4. But here I have a max of 4, I have an x of 1, and here I have an x of -3. So A matches all of the requirements to meet this function. Question 20 states the average annual energy cost for a certain home is $4,334. The homeowner plans to spend $25,000 to install a geothermal heating system. The homeowner estimates that the average annual cost will then be $2,712, which means that this is the initial, this is the kind of the final, and the difference between them would actually be savings. I mean, he's making kind of a large investment early on to save more money in terms of saving for the long term. Which of the following inequalities can be solved to find T, the number of years after installation at which the total amount of energy cost savings, yes, right, between them will exceed the installation cost? Well, my first major hint is that I want my savings to exceed my installation cost. So I don't, for my 25,000, this is my initial cost. And if that is my initial cost, right, total amount of energy cost, right, for the initial installation cost, I want my savings to exceed this. So this needs to be less than something. And then anytime you see it on the greater than side, will not work, right? So C is not going to work, D is not going to work, and A is not going to work. So really we're down to B, and B will be your best answer, but let's continue to solve for Y, given this is more of the detailed explanations. The 25,000 is going to be in the opposite side. Well, where are they getting the $4,334 minus the $2,712? Well, that's your what you first were paying and now deducting that. So this $4,334 subtracting your $2,712, this is your savings. And this is actually going to be your savings per year. And since it's a rate, it's going to be connected to time because that's what you're really at. So here is going to be the rate times the time in the amount of years. So it's going to be your savings per year connected to your time, and eventually you will exceed, your amount of savings will exceed your total installation cost, which is why he's making this decision in the first place. So 20 will be B.